Welcome back to my channel, Cord Cutting in Sports. This video is my college football cord cutting guide for the 2025 season, where I'm going to go through everything you need to know for the upcoming college football season. Yes, technically it has started already with week 0, but for most teams it's going to kick off this upcoming weekend. Alright, so here's a brief summary of all the things I'm going to go through. Because it's going to be quite lengthy, I'm going to try to get through this video guide as quickly as possible. So you can see all the different things listed there on the screen. I'm not going to bother reading all of them. We're just going to go ahead and get started with what's new this year. Okay, so if you checked out after the end of the last college football season, or some of these are since the start of the last college football season, a number of services that had price increases. YouTube TV had one in January. DIRECTV has one at least once a year, always. Peacock just had one recently. Hulu plus Live TV had one back in October of last year. Sling had one in December, and Fubo had one, I believe, in January. Also, we have a new ESPN direct-to-consumer service called ESPN Ultimate, and also a direct-to-consumer service from Fox called Fox One. Those have both already launched, and there's going to be a bundled discount on purchasing them together starting in October. DirecTV has also launched a new sports-only package called My Sports, and it has also launched some pre-selected multi-view channels as well. Sling also just recently launched the ability to purchase its Orange service for a day, a weekend, which is technically Friday through Sunday, or a full week rather than having to pay for a full month. And of course, conference realignment always continues. There are 2 new teams joining FBS this year, Delaware and Missouri State. And there's also one team, UMass, which is going from being an independent to joining a conference. All right, so on the screen here, you can see the main college football channels. You've got the ones owned by Disney, the ESPN-related channels. You've got your Fox channels. You've got CBS Sports Network. You've got NBC. You've got the CW, another over-the-air network. Then you've got your conference networks, of course. And then you've got your online-only, basically streaming-only channels like ESPN3, ESPN Select. Note, that was what ESPN Plus was called until just recently. Now going forward, it's ESPN Select, ACC Network Extra, SEC Network Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, and then something called Rise Sports Network. Basically, it's a place where you can watch some of the Mountain West games that are only streamed online. Okay, so here's a brief overview of the media rights by conference for the Power 4 conferences. So you got Tier 1, which is basically your broadcast networks, Tier 2, which are your linear cable channels, and then Tier 3, which are generally either your conference networks or, for the Big 12, basically ESPN Select, again, formerly known as ESPN Plus. And then you can also see on the far right column, what network or networks would be airing the conference championship game for each conference. Now, just to mention a couple things, you do see some streaming services listed here. So, for example, Peacock will be airing Big Ten games again this year. And in addition to that, like I said, you have ESPN Select, which will be airing at least one game for most teams in 3 of these 4 major conferences. Fox will be carrying the Big Ten Conference Championship game this year. And for Notre Dame, all 7 of its home games are going to air on Peacock again. 6 are going to also air on NBC, and the NC State game is going to be exclusive to Peacock. Now, for the group of 5 conferences, again, you can see the various channels and everything listed below. So basically, most of these are going to have some games on, ESPN Select, except, of course, for the Mountain West Conference, which does not have a deal with ESPN, just like the Big Ten. And one new thing is, again, this Rise Sports Network. So you can watch it for free on Amazon Prime. You just have to go to the Prime Video, essentially tab or part of the app, or also on Xumo if you want to find it on there as well. For example, it aired the UNLV Idaho State game that happened in week 0. Now, for Oregon State and Washington State, basically Washington State's going to have 5 home games airing on the CW and 1 game also airing on CBS. Oregon State's going to have 4 home games airing in the CW, 1 game on CBS, and then also 2 games on ESPN as well. So, what are some free ways that you can watch games? All right. Well, obviously, if you have an antenna, you can pick up ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, and CW. You can watch games on all those channels for free. Also, there will be games that you can watch for free via ESPN3 access. And the reason I mention that is because ESPN3 is included with many internet service provider subscriptions, especially the big ones, the more common ones. All the ABC games in the past have aired on ESPN3. It does appear to be the case that that's going to happen again this year because the game that aired, it was an FCS game, but on week 0, Saturday night, 7:30, it had an ESPN3 stream available in addition to a separate link or a separate stream which said, ESPN on ABC. So it appears that the ABC games will still be available to be watched via ESPN3. And then, of course, there's other ESPN3 exclusive games, pretty much from the group of 5 conferences as well. And I already mentioned it, Rise Sports Network. I assume that's how it's pronounced, but I honestly have no idea. You can find on the Amazon Prime app and also on Zumo. All right, so let's get into the various services now. So let's start off with Sling. It's the oldest one. It's been around for 10 years. You have the basic orange and blue plans that are each $46 a month. If you combine them, then it's only $61 a month total because there's some overlap among the channels. But for Orange, you also have now the ability to pay for a day of service for $5, a weekend of service for $10, or a full week of service for $15. Then, of course, you got the Sports Extra add-ons for either Orange or Blue, or the combined one, which would have all the channels from both the add-ons together. So you can see the channels down there in the corner. It still has a relatively small DVR at only 50 hours for free, but you can now increase that to an unlimited size for an extra $5 a month. That's also one change. Used to be that paying the $5 only got you to 200 hours, but they since have changed that to an unlimited storage. Again, you still only have 1 stream on the Orange channels, i.e. all the ESPN channels, and you still have 3 streams available on all the Blue channels. It does have 3 of the 4 local channels in a handful of markets, very limited number. If you do get all 3 locals, then they charge you $5 per month extra, but if you only get 1 or 2, there is no extra charge. My opinion is that Sling is a decent, cheaper option if you either don't need OTA channels or if you can get them via an antenna. But the DVR is extremely small. It only allows 1 simultaneous stream of ESPN channels, which is a deal breaker for me because you can't watch a game on ESPN and SEC Network or ESPN, ESPN2 at the same time. And now with the ESPN Direct to Consumer service, which I'll talk about in a little bit, there's a much cheaper option to just get the ESPN channels. That's what Sling Orange basically was previously. Just get ESPN and ESPN2 and even ESPN3 for the cheapest price possible. Or if you want all the sports channels, now Sling is at $76 a month, but you can get more channels and locals from DIRECTV My Sports for only $70 a month. So Sling really has, I would say now, limited appeal unless you're interested in a day, a weekend, or a week pass. I mean, obviously, it's still good for if you're primarily an ACC or SEC fan, and or you can get your over-the-air stations via antenna. I mean, it can still be cheaper than some of the other options out there, but if you can't get your OTA stations via antenna, if you're a Big Ten fan, if you want to watch multiple ESPN games simultaneously, then Sling is not a good choice for you. Next up, let's talk about YouTube TV, most popular of all the cable-like streaming services out there. Its base plan is currently $83 a month after the $10 a month price increase. It has the Sports Plus add-on for $11 a month, but there are no college football-related channels in that. The main advantage of that is, NFL Network Red Zone. It does have an add-on where you can get unlimited streams on your home network for an extra $10 a month and also view 4K content. The DVR allows for unlimited recording space, and it keeps recording for 9 months, that's pretty much standard, both in terms of the amount of space and the time frame. and it allows 3 simultaneous streams on the base plan. You can see all the channels there. Now, the one thing I will mention, the one major downside is that, again, I'll talk about this in more detail, it does not include access to ESPN Select, i.e., what was ESPN Plus. Okay, some of the other streaming services do now have access to ESPN Plus, ESPN Select with their base plan, but YouTube TV does not. So you will still need to pay extra if you need ESPN Select to watch games that air on there. So it's an excellent choice because the base price is obviously very comparable to Hulu plus Live TV or even Sling with all of the blue and orange together with the sports add-on. It is still a little more than DirecTV, My Sports, but it has all the network channels. It's got unlimited DVR. It has the Key Plays catch-up feature. It has multi-view, with up to 4 games at the same time. It has the ability, to record the entire league, an entire league in basically just one step. So it'll grab any and all NCAA, football games in there, and you want to go back and rewatch them. There's no issues with that. However, as I just mentioned, it does not include access to really it's ESPN Unlimited, but the only part that you're really missing is the ESPN Select. I guess it would also include ESPN Unlimited specific content, which I don't know there's going to be any college football content, but there is going to be other stuff like the WWE events that are going to start airing on there in September. So YouTube TV is still a great option for fans who want to record, many hours of games. And if you want to start watching games late and catch up to real time, by fast forwarding through ads, which I do a lot, or if you want to watch, 2 to 4 games simultaneously in multi-view, it's a great idea. But if you still need ESPN Select, i.e., ESPN Plus, it's maybe not the great option because you'll still have to spend an extra $12 to get that, and therefore fans looking to save money might want to look at other options. All right, let's talk next about Hulu plus Live TV. So same price as YouTube TV, $83 a month, and that includes the version of Disney Plus with ads, and it also includes ESPN Select as well. Technically, you can save $1 and instead get it without those 2 services still. So for $82 a month, DVR, unlimited space, recordings are good for 9 months. However, it only allows 2 simultaneous streams compared to the 3 or even more that other services offer. It does allow unlimited screens. That's what they call it, but just basically means unlimited streams on your home network. But that costs an extra $10 per month. You can see all the channels, that it offers or gives access to, on the screen there. It's currently the only service that includes, every single kind of paid channel that will be airing college football this year. And I'm not including Peacock because Peacock is a completely separate, add-on as well. So I'm not including Peacock, but all the linear cable channels and, say, ESPN Select. So if you want Disney Plus and or ESPN Select, because those are included in the base, the base plan, then obviously it's a great choice. However, it only has 2 streams instead of 3, and like I said, it has some fast forwarding restrictions regarding skipping ads and trying to catch up to live time. So in other words, if you start an event late and then you are trying to fast forward through the commercials or fast forward between plays, I think between plays is actually not the issue. It's more with ads and commercials. On certain devices, it will not let you skip the ads, and that's incredibly annoying, incredibly frustrating. We just have to sit there for 2.5 minutes, basically wasting time instead of being able to just, fast forward through those. So it's still a good choice for general fans or, like I said, fans who also want or need to subscribe to Disney Plus and or ESPN Select. However, if you're a person like me who wants to start games late and then catch up to real time by, fast forwarding through ads especially, it's a bad choice. That's why I personally cannot stand it and cannot, use it or subscribe to it anymore. And also fans looking to save money because basically there are, like you said, cheaper options out there which are very comparable. Next, let's talk about Fubo. So Fubo currently has two base plans. You have the Pro plan, which is $85 a month, and then you have Elite, which now includes automatically the Sports Plus add-on. That's also the plan you need to view 4K content. So that's $105 a month. Both of these also have a required RSN fee, so that's not even factored into those prices you see there. So you got to add somewhere between $15 to $17 to those prices, depending on how many RSNs you get in your area. One thing I will briefly mention, this is not on the screen, but they created a plan called Essential back in December, and it is identical to Pro except that it didn't have RSNs. So therefore, it was just at the time it was $80 a month. It was before the price increase up to 85, and so it was $80 a month, and that was it. No RSN fee, but all the other channels were the same. I actually, trialed it out and used it at the end of December, basically, and through January. But they got rid of it after a couple months, and they went back to these plans, and now it's just basically, way too expensive. So Pro does not include ESPNU or ESPN News in it. You have to get either an extra Sports Plus add-on to get those, or ACC Network and SEC Network are only included in Pro for in-market states. So if you're an out-of-market state for the ACC network or the SEC network, based on those conferences, then again, to see those networks, you have to get the Extra or Sports Plus add-on in order to watch them. So that's significantly worse than basically almost every other service, which I guess ignore Sling, but DIRECTV, YouTube TV, Hulu plus Live TV, which include those two conference networks in their base packages. The DVR is, again, unlimited storage, recordings for up to 9 months, and it does allow 10 simultaneous streams at home, which is more than most of the other services out there. So now Fubo has basically a very expensive price point, and the fact that those four ESPN ancillary ESPN networks are not included in the base packages for some people. But it does offer 10 streams at no extra cost. It includes the unlimited DVR. It also has a customizable multi-view on Apple TV devices only. However, one thing I also forgot to mention on the last screen is that it does not carry any Turner channels. Therefore, it does not have TNT or truTV. It's not clear if truTV is going to air any games this year, but it doesn't have it or TNT. So who is it best for? I mean, I guess you could say general fans because it still has a lot, the ability to include a lot of channels behind, even missing TNT. It also, obviously, fans who want to watch more than 3 games at once. And if you need your local RSN for a baseball or hockey or NBA team, then it's one of the better choices out there. Obviously, it would be worst for out-of-market ACC or SEC conference fans, or fans obviously want to save money because of the expensive price point now. And also, I put Big 12 fans just because TNT will be airing some Big 12 games this year. All right, so let's talk about DIRECTV. So they dropped the DIRECTV Stream name, and now everything's just DIRECTV. And essentially, what happened is, before they had DIRECTV Stream packages, which just had one total price, and that's it, and no contract. And then they also had DIRECTV via internet, which had the advertised price, but then also the RSN fee, but it did also have contracts. A discount for so many months, but you had to sign a 2-year contract and whatever. So they basically merged those, and they're now, there's now just DIRECTV. They're not just DIRECTV plans. So the prices that you see there on the screen include the estimated RSN fees. They're not the prices you're going to see on the website. I mean, entertainment doesn't have RSN, so that is the price you're going to see on the website. But for Choice and Ultimate, those have the RSN fees added to them. All right, and then, of course, you also have the sports pack. But the very interesting development is, again, the My Sports package that they created. My Sports is part of what they call now a genre pack, which is a kind of slimmed down, kind of specific package that they offer. Whereas Entertainment, Choice, Ultimate, those are called signature packs. So just to be aware, if you see that terminology, that's what they're referring to. The DVR is unlimited space, and again, it keeps the recordings for up to 9 months. It's 20 simultaneous streams in your home, on your home network, and 3 outside of your home network. One other thing just to be careful with too, the prices that you see listed here are for um, not leasing a what's called a Gemini device. Basically, it's their proprietary device and actually allows you to give you channel numbers that you can directly type in and flip between. They will try, especially with the signature plans, the more expensive ones, they will try to get you to lease a Gemini device for $10 a month. No different than like, a cable box type thing, essentially. But you do not need to do that. It's not required. You can use your own device and load the DIRECTV app and just, stream from that. So just be aware of that. You can see the various channels, the different packages offer there. So, as I said, My Sports is actually a great new package, a great deal, especially for college football fans. The signature packages are obviously they're more expensive compared to other, channel packages out there. They do have the RSNs. They do have a large number of streams. But My Sports is basically, the cheapest method to get nearly all your college football channels. And it also has access to ESPN Unlimited. That means it includes ESPN Select. So you don't need to pay extra for that. And they just launched predetermined multi-view windows. They're not great. One of them's like ESPN, ESPN2, FS1, and like NBC Sports Now, which is just some free, like fast channel that's not going to have any live events on it. And they're supposedly going to also have a local one, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. So if you get all 4 locals, that could be useful on College Football Saturday. But it's not as good as what YouTube TV is going to offer. So who would this be best for and worst for? Now, this is going to focus primarily on the My Sports package alone. The other packages I think are too expensive, and so I'm not going to really pay much. I'm not really going to pay much attention to them. This is solely for My Sports. So if you want to watch more than 3 games at once, obviously it's a great deal. If you want to save money, because again, it's pretty much the cheapest option out there to get nearly all the college football channels. It's only missing the CW. That's it. And just fans in general. The group of 5 fans thing can actually be ignored. That's actually a mistake that I need to get rid of. So I guess the only fans that it maybe would not be great for is if you want features like key plays or you want a more customizable multi-view, then DIRECTV would not be a great option because, like I said, there's just 2 predetermined ones essentially. So you're not going to be able to mix and match like any locals with any cable channels, and it's not going to have like the key plays, catch-up feature that YouTube TV has. All right, so let's talk about now ESPN Unlimited. This is the new direct-to-consumer service from ESPN. It's $30 a month. It just launched a couple days ago. Or if you want to pay for a year, it's $300 per year. There's going to be a bundle price discount of $40 a month, which is $10 a month off with Fox One, but that's not going to be available until October 2nd, so another 6 weeks away. It allows you to stream on 3 devices, but it also says in a different part of the website that 5 streams are allowed. So I guess that means if like you were playing something on, say, a TV and a Roku, so that'd be 2 devices, and then if you used a third device, a computer, you could only have, 3 streams playing on the computer at the same time. I guess if you tried to do a 4th one, that would be 6 streams and it wouldn't work. But it says 3 devices on one place and it says 5 streams on another. The DVR functionality is to be determined. I mean, I've seen some reports that even if you open live programming, it does give you the option to start it from the beginning versus playing it live, and that you do have controls like fast forward, pause, rewind available and everything. But it doesn't appear to be a true DVR in terms of like recording things, adding things to a My Stuff thing where you can easily find them later to rewatch. And the other thing is, I don't know how long the replays will be available to be watched. So like typically in the past, replays of college football events have been available like on the website or the app for about 28 days, 4 weeks, which is much smaller than, the 9 months that most DVRs allow access to. So we don't know the answers to those. That's just something to consider or think about, if you're looking at this service. Hulu plus Live TV customers, DIRECTV customers, and Fubo customers all have access to this ESPN Unlimited service. Sling TV and YouTube TV customers do not currently have access to it. And one last thing just to mention is, so obviously it includes access to the various cable channels that are included in the various, TV packages. You can see them all listed there. It also includes ESPN Select, i.e. ESPN Plus, and there is also ESPN Unlimited only, or like what I would call ESPN Unlimited specific content. For example, Saturday the 23rd, ESPN Unlimited aired 5 NFL preseason games. So those are an example of ESPN Unlimited only content. So you needed access to ESPN Unlimited, whether through a provider, like those 3 listed there, or by subscribing to the service directly in order to watch those events. And like the WWE events that are going to start airing on it, I think, are another example of like the ESPN Unlimited specific content. Also, one last thing to note too, it does not include an ABC live stream. It includes ESPN and ABC sporting events only. So, unlike Fox 1, which includes a Fox live stream, this does not include an ABC live stream. You won't see other, ABC non-programming, non-sports programming on it. And actually, one thing related to that too, it's not on the screen, but I'll just mention it. They are also running a promo, and this is for new customers only, for ESPN Plus and for ESPN Unlimited and Hulu and Disney Plus at the same price you see there, $30 a month for the first 12 months. It's regularly, if you bundle those all 3 together, it's regularly $36 a month. And then there are also slightly more expensive options, which are also discounted if you want Disney Plus with no ads or Hulu with no ads. So you can check out all the various options on the on ESPN's website. So it's now the cheapest way to get all the ESPN, not only cable channels, but also the main ones, but also the ancillary ones, including the conference networks. And it also includes ESPN Select, i.e. ESPN Plus. Previously that was Sling. I mean, you wouldn't get ESPN Plus through Sling, but Sling Orange would give you ESPN2, ESPN, and ESPN3. And if you got the add-on, you could get the ACC Network, SEC Network, ESPNU, ESPN News. But now you can get it for significantly cheaper. However, how the DVR is going to work and replays and all that stuff is still to be determined. So this could be a great choice for those if you can get the network channels via an antenna, and therefore you only need access to maybe the ESPN cable channels. And besides that, it would also be best for fans of like the ACC and SEC, since pretty much most, if not all, their games are going to be on there. ACC obviously has games on the CW, but most are going to be on ESPN networks. Obviously, this would be worse for Big Ten and Mountain West Conference fans because they do not have deals with ESPN. And also fans who can't get OTA stations via an antenna, because you're going to have to pay for those somehow, if you want to watch the games on those other channels. All right, so now let's talk briefly about ESPN Select. Again, this was formerly known as ESPN Plus until a couple days ago when they launched ESPN Unlimited and they changed the name to ESPN Plus. It's $12 a month or $110 per year. Again, it should have the same streaming limits as the regular ESPN Unlimited service. It's going to carry basically, games from every conference that it has contracts with. So that's everyone except the Big Ten and also the Mountain West Conference. Note that the ACC and SEC games that air on ESPN Select, again, I should change that ESPN Plus thing there, are not exclusive to the network, meaning those games can still also be viewed if you have access to ACC Network and SEC Network via your cable, or your cable light provider. That's different than, say, the Big 12, for example. The Big 12 games that air on ESPN Select are exclusive to that service. So just something to be aware of. So if you're a fan of one of the 7 conferences listed there, then obviously just ESPN Select is a good option for you if you're a hardcore college football fan. But for pretty much everyone else, there's really no need for it. All right, now let's talk about Fox One. This is the direct-to-consumer offering from Fox. Base plan is $20 a month. Again, there's going to be a bundle of $40 a month with ESPN Ultimate, but that will not start until October. It's going to carry, in terms of college football content, your Fox broadcast network and FS1 and FS2 and BTN. There's other channels that are not college football related, like Fox News and other stuff, but I'm focusing here solely on college football. So in terms of number of streams, and the DVR, I only saw this in one article. I haven't seen it listed, haven't been able to find it anywhere else. But it said that they were aiming for unlimited streams, like on your home network, and 3 outside the home. And in terms of the DVR, again, the same things in terms of unlimited storage and, think recordings kept for 9 months. However, it does, I mean, you can see they did advertise that you are able to record things just like on YouTube TV or, DIRECTV or Hulu plus Live TV, meaning you add specific programs, events, whatever, and then there's a My Stuff tab where you can go and then find them later, which does not appear to exist in the ESPN, Ultimate service. Also, they've advertised that we'll have multi-view available as well for its channels. So this is the only way to get, Fox via like a direct-to-consumer service. Otherwise, previously you either had to have an antenna or you had to have subscribed to something that carried, all your local channels. However, the number of streams and DVR features are currently unconfirmed. I mean, we have more idea about them than ESPN Ultimate, but we still don't know exactly for sure. So this could be a great choice if you can't get Fox via antenna, or even if you only need the Fox, cable channels to watch college football. So Big Ten fans, it's a great choice for. Maybe Big 12 fans as well. People, again, who can't get Fox via antenna. But, for example, ACC and SEC conference fans probably would not, have much use for it. All right, now let's talk about HBO Max. So this was previously known as Max, and then it was recently renamed to HBO Max. So basically, the sports that you're going to watch on here that are college football related are games airing on TNT or True TV. Those are currently only available now on the standard and premium plans, and you can see the various prices, listed on the screen there. Standard allows 2 simultaneous streams. Premium allows 4. So this would be good, obviously, for a Fubo subscriber who does not get TNT or True TV. Or if you're subscribing to the ESPN and/or the Fox, direct-to-consumer services, and you want to get TNT, this is basically how you could add on and do that. But for most other people, if you subscribe to one of the full, like cable light packages, you're already going to get TNT, and True TV. So you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about this. All right, next we have Paramount Plus. So this is obviously the streaming service from CBS. And you got 2 plans, the Essential plan and then the with Showtime plan, which is, a little bit more expensive. So Essential should include the Mountain West Conference games, but to watch the Big Ten games on CBS, you do need the more expensive plan, the with Showtime plan, that basically the one that has no ads, and it also includes a live stream of your local CBS channel. So this would obviously be best for those who cannot get CBS via an antenna, or if you subscribe to a service that doesn't carry CBS, so like, for example, Sling. But again, for most other people, you're probably not going to need this. You're either going to be able to get CBS via antenna, or you're going to get it with the service you subscribe to. And there are no Paramount Plus exclusive games, unlike, say, Peacock, which we're going to talk about in a second. All right, so now Peacock, NBC's version of streaming service, they just had a price increase, so you can see the current prices on the screen there. The cheaper one, Premium, again, is going to have all 7 Notre Dame home games, and it's going to have some Big Ten exclusive games as well. So the NC State game is going to be a Peacock exclusive, along with should be 9 Big Ten games this year. I don't think they've officially announced a number, but the last 2 years it was 9 exclusive Peacock games. The more expensive plan gives you not only limited ads, but it gives you the live stream of your local NBC station. So similarly to Paramount Plus, this is going to be best for those who can't get NBC via antenna, or if you subscribe to a service that doesn't carry NBC. If you can get it via antenna, or you do receive NBC, then you pretty much don't need this, again, unless you want to see, the 9 Peacock exclusive Big Ten games. That would be the main reason to get this. All right, so now let's talk about some documents that can help you hopefully make an informed decision about, which service would be best for you. The first is this chart that you see here on the screen. Basically compares all the channels for all the different services and the prices, starting with the cheapest on the left all the way to the most expensive on the right. So you can see all the channels are listed there along with their various prices. There will be a link to the PDF file where you can download this and view this, in the description of the video, also in the pinned comment as well. And then this is a kind of a more simplified version. So this is just for the main cable light, streaming services. And it just has them all listed down each column, and then the channels going across each row, and it basically just says like either yes or no, do they carry it, or for the ones that have different plans, it lists which plan or which plan or above are those channels carried on. Again, there'll be a link to the PDF file where you can access this in the description of the video and also in the pinned comment. All right, couple things just to know, especially if this is like, say, your first time switching from like cable or satellite to a streaming service. First, local coverage issues. Sometimes you might not be able to watch a game because even though it's supposed to be carried on a channel that you receive, like say your local ABC or your local Fox or CBS or something, the game might get bumped to a different channel or specifically to a sub-channel, maybe due to some type of local news event, or like it happened a couple of years ago when there was like a Supreme Court announcement where ABC bumped the game to a sub-channel or to the ESPN app. And if your streaming service doesn't carry that local sub-channel, then you can't watch it there, right? So you would then probably have to go to the app for the respective channel that you're trying to watch. So the reason I mention this is because typically, at least cable carries a lot more of, say, the local sub-channels than the streaming services do. So just be aware this is something that could happen to you. A second thing, overflow channels. So Big Ten Network and SEC Network often have multiple games airing at the same time, especially earlier in the season when there aren't very many conference games. They're mostly out of conference. But not all the services carry the overflow channels in the guide. So you might have, like BTN 1, BTN 2, BTN 3, if there's like 3 games all airing at noon. If the guide doesn't carry the extra overflow channels, because there's only going to be one game, that's designated as the main one to air in your geographic region, then you need to go to the app for the respective channel and find the game to watch there. Okay? So that's just something, to be aware of again as well. I mean, and that's not necessarily specific to these. That happens also with, also with cable and satellite companies as well. Another thing to be aware of, game windows. So games often typically run past, their allotted time, and they go to overlap or the start of the next game. And so therefore, a lot of times they'll move the next game, the game that's supposed to start at 3:30, or whatever, 7 o'clock, to a different channel. So game runs over on ESPN or ESPN2, they move that game that's supposed to start to ESPNU or ESPN News. If you don't get that channel as part of your subscription, then you won't be able to watch, the start of that game. So that's just something to be aware of as well. Now, a lot of times when that happens, they do just release the game on, say, ESPN3, and therefore, almost everyone can watch it. But they don't always do that. So that's just something to be aware of as well. Then the last thing is away games. So even if you're, say, a fan of an ACC or SEC team, you may have an away game against a team who is partners with someone outside of ESPN, whether it's Fox or CBS or NBC or whatever. So you might think that you don't need access to that specific channel, but you could end up needing it for that one specific away game. So just be aware of that as well. All right, so here are kind of like my rankings, or kind of like several different scenarios in terms of options out there. So the absolute cheapest option would be, ESPN Unlimited, and then combining that with Fox One, and then combining that with an antenna, because that would get you basically that would get you all the ESPN and Fox cable channels. You'd basically only be missing TNT and CBS Sports Network. Okay, all the other channels you could get via broadcast channels you get via antenna. Now that would cost you $50, but starting October that would only be $40. However, if you can't get, say, NBC or CBS, then you could add on Paramount Plus and/or Peacock. Now that of course would bump up the price to say $74 now, or $64 in October once the bundled discount takes effect. Now, I think the best overall value is going to be the DIRECTV My Sports package. It's regularly $70. There's currently a promo offer, which I'm going to talk about those in the next page. But it's currently $60 a month. It carries every main college football channel except for the CW. That's the only thing that basically it would be missing. The multi-view is lacking, like I said previously, but it has all the main college football channels except the CW. Then you could go up potentially to YouTube TV, which is going to be a bit more expensive. It basically will have everything except, again, it does not have ESPN Select. It does have great features, the key plays, the multi-view, it's DVR, but again, it doesn't have ESPN Select access. So if you need that, then that price difference is going to go from, say, $13 a month compared to My Sports to really $25 a month, so a little bit more. One last thing to mention, so Hulu plus Live TV is currently the cheapest option to get all the college football channels, and that means everything including ESPN Select. However, again, I personally cannot recommend that because it only has 2 simultaneous streams, and again, the issues with fast forwarding through ads on certain devices when you're trying to catch up to real time on live events. So that just makes it a non-starter for me. All right, so here is a summary of some of the deals that are currently available. For Sling, currently it's only for prepaying for 5 months of the service. And you can see there the savings is anywhere from $30 to $50. Again, that's over 5 months. So it's anywhere from really like $6 to $10 a month for new subscribers. YouTube TV for new subscribers is offering $33 a month off, basically $99 in total savings. So $33 a month for the first 3 months. DIRECTV is offering a discount on My Sports where it's $10 a month off for 2 months, so you'd save $20. Whereas for the signature plans, entertainment and choice, you can save $35 a month just for 1 month. And then also you can get the sports pack for free. By the way, I don't know why that says 12 on there. That should be 15. The sports pack is $15. And then lastly, Fubo, for new subscribers only, is also offering discounts on the Pro and Elite with Sports Plus plans, just $30 a month, only good for 1 month. And one last thing to mention too is check your credit card offers. A lot of times you will get offers for YouTube TV for a discount, like $20 off per month, or Fubo currently has an offer I saw on one of my cards for 35% off just for 1 month. So make sure you check your various credit cards as well, because they can reduce the price and makes YouTube TV cheaper than DIRECTV, even though the actual initial price you pay might be more expensive. So on bowl season, every game is going to air on an ESPN network except for the Arizona Bowl, which will again be on the CW, the Sun Bowl, which has always been on CBS, the Holiday Bowl, which has always been on Fox, and then the 2 college football playoff opening round games, which will also air on TNT, just like last year. I'll have a full bowl schedule available, once all the games and everything are posted in early December. So check on, the website for that. Now, one thing just to mention about downloading and saving games is ESPN this spring started encrypting all their streams. So currently, I do not have any idea how to download or save any ESPN events. That includes ESPN Select as well. Basically, you'd have to do is just screen record them, which is annoying because you got to play the whole event for like 3.5 hours and let it run. Um, but Fox and other channels still can be recorded. You want to download replays of Fox or FS1 or whatever, BTN, you can still get those events as well. So check out the other videos, on my channel to see how to do that. All right, so like I said, try to get through this as quickly as possible, but there is a lot of information to go over. If you have any questions or comments or anything, please leave them below on the video, or of course, you can always reach out to me via email. And of course, the PDF version of this guide is available on my website as well. So, looking forward to the start of the great 2025 college football season, and I hope you are as well.